Now in this video, we are going to look at the general term. The general term can be found in the binomial expansion formula, which is given by this part here. So this is not the rth term, but it's actually the r plus 1th term. So the general formula is given by the r plus 1 term is n choose r. Then we have the a, we have the b. Okay, the r will be here, and the r will be the power towards the n. Since these two must add up to n, right? So this must be n minus r. So what do this all mean? We have an expansion here, and we are asked to find the 6th term. Now, for the 6th term, what is the value of r? Is it 6? No. The value of r is actually 5. All right? So just remember that for this, it's actually the rth plus 1 term. It will not be written in the formula sheet, but you need to remember that the general term is for the r plus 1th term. So if I want the 6th term, the r must be 5, because 5 plus 1 was 6. So I want the r equals to 5. So what this means is I will have 9, choose 5. The value of a is 2x squared. The value of b is negative 1 over x. Remember, this is r. This will be r. The two powers add up to 9. And let us first find the coefficient by pressing 9 choose 5 multiplied by 2 power 4. So will it be positive or negative? It is an odd power, so it will be negative. The numbers, the coefficient is 2016. And what is the x power? So using law of indices, we have power 8 here at the numerator. We have power 5 here at the denominator. So power 8, power 5, we will have power 3 at the numerator. All right. So that's how we find the 6th term. We do not need to expand the whole binomial expansion. Now for the term which is independent of x. So now we have an issue because we do not know which term is independent of x, which means we do not know the value of r. Our job here is to actually first determine what is the value of r. So as a habit, write t r plus 1, just to help us to remember that this is the r plus 1 term. We do know that n is still 9, but we do not know which r value it is because we do not know which term it is. So the a value will not change. The b value will not change. But because I do not know what is the value of r, so I will leave this as r here. These two must add up to 9, right? So this must be 9 minus r. So I write this in red because it's something new for today. So what we will do is we will split this into 3 parts. One part will be the sign. One part will be the coefficients. And one part will be the x terms. Okay, let's see what I mean here. So which part will give us the sign? It is actually negative 1 to the power of r. Okay, because this is positive, so let's ignore it. Only this one will be negative. So let's settle the sign first. The sign will be negative to the power of r. So done. Next, which part will give us the coefficients? Let me use another color. Let's say black. So this will give us the coefficient. Now this will also give me the coefficient. So it's actually 2 power 9 minus r. Okay, this will give me the coefficient. That means just the number. And finally, I want the x term. So the coefficient is done. Now for the x term, this part will give me the x term, and this part will also give me the x term. So I will use rate now. So this will be x power 18 minus 2r, and there's also x power r at the denominator. So using law of indices, you know that if you divide, it is actually subtracting the powers. So I will need to minus r here. So let me show you this clearly over here. Why is it minus r? So here I will have x squared power 9 minus r, and that will give me x power 18 minus 2r. And I will also have over x power r. So using law of indices, I will know that when I divide with the same base and I divide, the power you actually subtract. Okay, this is a law of indices. So I will need to subtract the r here. So I have 18 minus 2r minus r. All right, so that will be 18 minus 3r. Okay, so let's leave it like this for a while. So the term that is independent of x. Independent of x means there is no x, which means that the value here should be 0, which means 18 minus 3r should be 0. And this is how we find the r values. R is actually 6. With the r value found, everything else will be so easy. So I will just need to sub r back into here, here, and here. And I'll be able to find the term which is independent of x, because this will give us the full coefficient. All right. So having this is important initially, because if it's an odd power, it will still be minus. If it's an even power, in this case, this will become a positive. So let's squeeze it a bit here first. So I will have negative 1 to the power of 6. Let's leave it as 1, all right? And I will have 9 choose 6 multiplied by 2 power 9 minus 6 is 3. So you just press 9 choose 6 multiplied by 2 cube, which is 672. And therefore the answer is 672. All right, just follow these steps. Take out the sign. So use negative 1 power r. The coefficient will be the black color part, and the x term will be the red color part. Find the value of r, sub it back in, and you'll find the term independent of x. Now let's just look at this next question here. One way to find the coefficient of x cubed is, of course, to expand this completely and multiply by this term here, and look out for the x cubed term. And we'll only write down the coefficient, which is the number in front of x cubed. Since we have learned about the general term, let us try to use the general term here. One way to use the general term is to find the term that contains x cubed, because if we multiply by a constant, we have an x cubed term. And if we multiply by a constant term with here, we also get an x cubed term. So we want an x cubed term and a constant term. So how do we do that? So foremost, let us use the general term, which is n choose r, a power n minus r, b power r. Okay. So we will first find the general term for this. N is actually 6. R we do not know yet. All right. Because we want the term that contains a cube and contains the power 0 for the constant term. So let us take it as we do not know the value of R yet. A will always be the same here, will be x squared. B will always be the same, minus 3 over x. Okay, remember this is R, this will be R, and this will be 6 minus R. Okay, because these two must add up to 6. All right, so let's do the 3 steps again. Number 1, settle the sign, settle the coefficients, and settle the x terms. All right, let's do these 3 once more. So first, let's settle the sign here, which is negative power R. Yes, you realize that actually the sign is always simplified using this. Now let's do the coefficients using another color. So this part will give us the coefficients. Okay, there's no coefficient here, but there is a coefficient here. So it's just 3 power R. All right. Don't worry about the minus sign because we already resolved it initially, which is why the sign is always the first thing we settle. Now let's look at the x term and let's apply a bit of law of indices once more. So we have x power 12 minus 2R. And remember, because we divide by x power R, so since it's divide, we minus the power. And we want the x cubed terms. So this, the first one should be a 3. Again, I want a x cubed. So I want to multiply this by x cubed. So now I want a power 3. Power 3. So when do I have a power 3? When 12 minus 3R equals to 3. If we solve this simple linear algebra, we will have R equals to 3. So when R equals to 3, I will have negative 1 to the power of 3. I will have 6 choose 3, 3 to the power of 3. And here will definitely be x cubed because this was the initial part. We already let it be x cubed. So simply press calculator. So this will be a minus sign. So let's just settle that for now. Let's just put it as minus. Okay, so I have 6 choose 3 multiplied by 27. That will give us 540. However, we also need a constant term to multiply by this, right? Okay, so for a constant term, we have 12 minus 3R. It should be 0 for the constant term, and R will be the equals to 4. So when R equals to 4, this will be positive because it's an even power. So all we need to focus on is actually 6 choose 4 multiplied by 3 power 4. Okay? And that will be 6 choose 4 multiplied by 3 power 4, which is 1215. So we have minus 540 times this to get the SQ term. We have 1215. This is the term that's independent of x, the constant term. We multiply by the x cubed term here. That whole coefficient will be the x cubed coefficient. Now, if this seems puzzling to you, or it's a bit too complex, then you have no choice but to expand this completely and then multiply with this. but you do not need to multiply every single thing. Just multiply those terms that will give you x cubed. Look out for the coefficients, which is just a number. Please do not write x cubed because the question asks for coefficients. I just need the number, and you will still get negative 2970. Now, using the same methods, all right, okay, find the value of r, okay, for which you will get the term in x power 10. Since I'm asking for the term, write down the whole term here. Now, for this, I want the x power negative 5. This is actually x power negative 5. Which r value will I get? Power negative 5. And for this, the constant term is actually power 0. Again, which r will give me power 0. So using the general term, try to solve this. Please do not expand the whole thing completely and then try to find where is the power 10, where is the power negative 5, and where is the power 0, because it is way too time consuming. Rather, you have to use the general term to find the values of r. Alright, so just to give you a head start, in this case, the a value is x cubed, the b value is negative 2 over x squared with a negative sign here, and the value of n is equals to 10. Okay, so find all the r values. Right, sub it back in. You should be able to find the term, the coefficients, and the constants.